Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Friday. Well, for you guys, it's a Friday. I'm currently recording this episode on a Thursday. It is 10 o'clock p.m. and I'm recording this episode on a Thursday, so it is a Friday for you guys, and this episode will be out at the normal show time in the Hockey Talk TG podcast at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So you want to make sure that you're following the Hockey Talk TG podcast on all your podcast streaming platforms. So on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, which you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time, and from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're living in Eastern Time. That is when this podcast will air. So you want to make sure that you're following Hockey Talk TG Podcast for the latest NHL news, teams, players, stats, and other hockey news in general that I bring on this podcast. This is your number one podcast for all things hockey. So you want to stay up to date on the latest hockey news, not just NHL. This is your podcast that you want to be listening to. All right, without further ado, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, as you guys can see from the College Hockey South announcements, there are 3 women's college hockey teams set to join the College Hockey South women's division. So the University of Florida Gators, the Florida State University Seminoles, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, and the Kansas State University Owls. And just my thoughts on this, I really do love it. I absolutely love it. I think this is a W for College Hockey South. And as somebody that loves hockey and that works for College Hockey South, I am 100% in on this. I feel like this is needed for the game of hockey, and to grow the sport in general and make it more diverse, showing that hockey is the number one sport that needs to be played. And usually, hockey isn't popular in the South. Like, you guys know I'm a Blackhawks fan. Grew up watching the Blackhawks, from up north. So up north, there's usually a lot of hockey up north. But when you come in the South, it's like people don't care about hockey, unfortunately. And ever since, like you have the Predators, you have the Panthers and Lightning winning Stanley Cups. Seems like hockey is starting to become a big difference in the South, and I'm all here for it. And I know, like Memphis, somebody told me that Memphis had the Memphis River Kings, which was to the Mississippi River Kings, and then it disbanded. So I didn't even know Memphis had a hockey team until somebody told me that. So that just comes to show how popular that hockey was, or hockey is right now in the South. And can't wait to watch these new women's division hockey teams in the College Hockey South women's division take place in the 2025-26 NHL season. And if you guys missed the College Hockey South women playoffs, the Alabama Frozen Tide women's hockey team won the women's division title. So congratulations to the Alabama Frozen Tide women's hockey team right there. Absolutely well deserved. Just to wrap up my discussion on this, I feel like I said, this is a W for College Hockey South. It is now going from 10 teams to 13 teams, and this is certainly growing the game of hockey, and particularly women's hockey in general. And this is what we're going to talk about in one of my sports classes, like issues in sports media, gender in sports, and how that plays a role, how gender plays a role in sports. We haven't talked about it yet, but we're going to talk about it soon. And I just feel like bringing women's hockey into this discussion kind of plays a role of gender sports, because usually in hockey it's the guys that play hockey. You don't really see a lot of women playing hockey, but I feel like with the PWHL and what the College Hockey South is doing, this is growing the game, and I'm all here for it, and I 100% agree on this. And as a hockey fan and player, I always like to see the game of hockey grow, and not people playing basketball, which has gone soft now. Like basketball has gone soft. Don't want to see people playing football. Boring sport in my opinion. And nobody playing soccer. It is another soft sport. And hockey's, the place to be. This is, like we want fans and, people to call this sport home. I mean, this sport has been home to me for a long time. So, yeah, that's just to wrap up my thoughts. And then let me know you guys' thoughts on, college, on the new women's teams being in the College Hockey South. I kind of explain why. If I didn't make any sense to you, I truly do apologize. But to make this into a one sentence, I think it's a huge W for College Hockey South, and it's great for what they're doing for the game of hockey in the South, what they're doing for college hockey in the South, and particularly women's hockey. So that's just my thoughts on it. I am all in on that decision. Okay, still staying with the College Hockey South news. So, team put out on its Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Team put out on social media that there's going to be a few division teams moving up a level. So the FAU Owls D2 hockey team, which my Ole Miss Rebels faced in the College Hockey South D2 playoffs, we got a upset win against them. Doyle Coughlin with the overtime game winning goal in that game. We beat the FAU Owls D2 hockey team in College Hockey South D2 playoffs. But that D2 team will move up to the D1 division right there, starting in the 2025-26 NHL season. I did not mean to say NHL season. I do talk about a lot of NHL mainly on the Hockey Talk TG podcast, but I also bring up other hockey news as well. But NHL, of course, is the main topic. I didn't mean to say that, though. But FAU Owls starting in the 2025-26 College Hockey South season, their D2 team will move up to the D1 division. And, absolutely well-deserved since they were one of the top teams in the College Hockey South D2 division. Now they're going to get a shot at playing D1. The FAU Owls D3 hockey team will move up to the D2 division. So just reflects how their team has done overall this season. They're another great team in the D3 division, and starting 2025-26 College Hockey South season, FAU Owls D3 team will move up to the D2 division, and the South Carolina Gamecocks, the College Hockey South D3 champions, they will move up to the D2 division, and the Tennessee Ice Balls D3 hockey team will move up to the D2 division starting in 2025-26 College Hockey South season. My overall thoughts on this, it's great. I really do enjoy it. I mean, it's as a guy, that covers the Ole Miss Rebels D2 and D3 hockey team, I'm always looking for new opponents for the Rebels to face. Like, don't want to be facing the same opponents like every single time. It's not like baseball where you get the same opponent like 5 days in a row. Like, it's not like that. Like, I don't enjoy that. I don't know why baseball does that, to be honest, but hockey is not like baseball. Like I said before off air, it is unmatched. No other sport can compare to hockey. But just to stay on this topic, I really do like what College Hockey South is doing. Switching it up a little bit. Having new teams playing new division. And like I said, as somebody that covers the Ole Miss Rebels hockey team, D2, D3 hockey team, you can check out the highlights of the games that I post on the TG Hockey channel when you get a chance. I am all in on this. Like I said, I'm always looking for new opponents for the Rebels to face. We need new opponents. And as a hockey player myself, I always like a challenge. I don't want to be doing the same drill, going up against the same teams, I should say. I don't want to be going up against the same teams all the time. Like, I want a new team, a new great hockey team to face. I want the new guys. I don't want the old guys that I faced before. I don't want the old guys that I've beaten before. I don't want the old guys, that I'm losing to before. That's in the past. Give me the now. Give me the present. That's what I want. Like, I'm always up for a challenge as a hockey player and, as a person in general. So I think it's good that College Hockey South did that just to shift it up. And hopefully when the Rebels release their, upcoming schedule, they'll have these we'll be playing the Tennessee Ice Vols. We'll be playing the D3 champs in the South Carolina Gamecocks. Hopefully we'll play teams like that instead of, the same teams like University of Alabama or, I wouldn't mind playing MTSU again this season. It's always great when Ole Miss and MTSU go at it. I wouldn't mind playing them again this season, but just overall, in general, like, give me new teams. I don't want to be facing the same teams like every single season. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know you guys' thoughts on it down in the comments below. I always like to hear from you. Whether you agree or disagree with the stuff that I say, I always like to hear you guys' opinions. Maybe you might have an opinion that's better than mine. But just let me know down in the comments below on Spotify and on YouTube. I don't think you can comment down on Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio. I think it's just Spotify and YouTube that you have to comment on. So if you're listening to on there, drop a comment down below. I'll see your reply, and I'll reply back with the best comment I can. Yeah. All right, moving on from College Hockey South news to NHL news. Trade deadline next Friday. Got an episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast on Wednesday, previewing the trade deadline. Next Friday, there is no episode because, of course, it's trade deadline day, and the league will be going live, and you guys will be seeing every trade that happens around the league. So that's why there's going to be no episode. I feel like since it's going to be a busy day around the league, and a lot of trades happening back and forth. Like, you never know who's going to get traded and stuff. Like, it's just busy. It's just jammed up kind of day. So that's why I said I wasn't going to do episode Friday. But the following Monday, after the trade deadline, I'll do a recap show. Just recapping the trades that went down next Friday, giving my thoughts on it, and sharing the winners and losers of each trade. Hopefully we get some more blockbuster trades like the, Mikko Rantanen trade that we got earlier this season. I think it was somewhere in at the beginning of February that we got that 3-team trade, trading Taylor Hall to the Hurricanes, trading Mikko Rantanen to the Hurricanes, Martin Natchez, Jack Drury to Colorado. Hopefully we get something like that in this upcoming trade deadline. But yeah, NHL news now. We're going to be talking about the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars, they are going to be starting a 4-game homestand against the LA Kings tomorrow. But I guess for you guys, since this podcast will be out to you Friday, I guess it'll be today. So Dallas Stars are going to be starting a 4-game homestand today against the LA Kings, and some of their key players are injured from the lineup. So, of course, you got Tyler Seguin, who's on injured reserve, and he's following up on a hip surgery. He has resumed skating, but his return is unknown. Like, we don't know when he's coming back. We just know that he's been skating. He's trying to practice, but we don't know when he'll be back in the Dallas Stars lineup. Next defenseman, of course, Miro Heiskanen. He was supposed to play in the Four Nations for Team Finland, but because he was injured, he was unable to. And so Jiro Vakanainen and Henri Jokiharju took his place. But Miro Heiskanen, he is listed as week to week with a lower body injury, which he sustained in last January. He has not resumed skating yet. And then we got Liam Bichelle. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this name right. And of course, he is a young defenseman who is, in concussion protocol, expected to be sidelined for at least next 5 to 6 days. So no telling when he's going to be coming back. And then we got Niels Lundqvist, who is dealing with an injury that's keeping him out of the lineup. So, of course, Dallas Stars deep defensive pairings still looking solid, but not as good as of right now with Miro Heiskanen, who anchors that blue line, is out of the Dallas Stars lineup. Which leads me to my next question, and I won't get too much into depth about this because that is why I'm doing Wednesday's episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast, just, previewing the trade deadline and, discussing who can go to where, what team can get who, and, that kind of stuff. So I won't go too much into depth about who the Stars can get at the trade deadline because I will discuss this all on Wednesday's episode of the Hockey Talk TG podcast. But recently the Dallas Stars acquired for Mikael Granlund and defenseman Cody Ceci from the San Jose Sharks, which, kind of bolstered their roster just a little bit, especially with the key players that's out with injuries. And, of course, the trade deadline strategy, I'm expecting the Dallas Stars pretty much as you guys, I expect them to be buyers at the deadline. I mean, this is a team that is trying to win a Stanley Cup, went all the way to the Western Conference Finals last season, and they lost to the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games, trying to go for another deep playoff run, and it starts by being buyers that they need to go all in. And one player that I can see that the Dallas Stars could be getting is Rasmus Ristolainen. I was listening to the Morning Cup of Hockey Daily Faceoff podcast on today, of course. I was listening to the Morning Cup of Hockey Daily Faceoff podcast on today, and they were talking about how the Philadelphia Flyers can trade Rasmus Ristolainen and how a team that is interested in acquiring him can anchor their blue line. And I feel like that's what the Dallas Stars need because got their players like Miro Heiskanen, Nils Lundkvist out with injuries. We need somebody like Rasmus Ristolainen that could provide that stability while Miro Heiskanen is out of the lineup. And also he's like a solid, big guy, and he can really, give it to you on the blue lines, and that's what the Dallas Stars need. And of course, General Manager Jim Neal has dismissed the rumors about the Dallas Stars possibly getting somebody like Erik Karlsson. As a hockey fan in general, I would love to see that happen. Erik Karlsson being the Dallas Stars, but I gotta agree, I don't think that will happen for Dallas. Another defenseman I can see the Dallas Stars getting is Seth Jones. I did do an article about this on Blackhawk Up. I will put it in the description so you guys can go check it out about top 5 teams that I could see Seth Jones go to. I already told you one of them. I'm not telling you the other 4, so you can go check out that article I did on Blackhawk Up, because I did do an article about that discussing who I could see Seth Jones going to and why. And, of course, one thing that the Dallas Stars have to worry about is the cap space consideration. So placing Tyler Seguin and possibly Miro Heiskanen on long-term injury reserve could free up some cap space right there, which will provide Dallas with that flexibility to acquire impactful players before the trade deadline. And, probably even on trade deadline day before it is up. And if you take a look at the defensive pairs according to the Daily Faceoff website, of course, first pair, Thomas Harley, Ilya Lyubushkin. Second pair, Esa Lindell, Cody Ceci. Solid second defensive pair. Third pair, you got Brendan Smith and Matt Dumba. So obviously, if you had Heiskanen and Ristolainen on the first pair, I think that would be great for Dallas. Rasmus Ristolainen will still contribute to the Dallas Stars D, hold down the fort while Miro Heiskanen is out, and then when Miro Heiskanen returns, just put them on the same defensive pairs, and I'm pretty sure that that'll be a solid defensive pair overall for Dallas. And you should take a look at their upcoming schedule. Like I said before, Friday they start a 4-game homestand against the LA Kings. Of course, for you guys, that'll be today. For me, it'll be tomorrow since I'm recording this on a Thursday. And then Sunday, they'll face St. Louis Blues for a Central Division showdown. And then on Tuesday, March 4th, they'll take on New Jersey Devils, 2000 Stanley Cup Final rematch right there. And then on March 6th, next Thursday for me, they'll take on the Calgary Flames. That will conclude their 4-game homestand. And then on Saturday, March the 8th, it is a 4-game road trip against the Edmonton Oilers. They'll also face the Canucks, Jets, and Avalanche right there. So, and then after that, they kind of start another homestand. So the Dallas Stars have 24 games remaining in regular season. Don't really need to say too much about them. We know they're going to be a playoff team. We know they're going to be a stacked team. But with these key injuries, I feel like they should at least add somebody at the trade deadline. They can they can contribute while players like Tyler Seguin and Miro Heiskanen are out. But let me know you guys your thoughts on that. Do you guys think the Dallas Stars should? Do you guys think the Dallas Stars are buyers? I pretty much all of you say the same thing. But who do you see Dallas getting? Like, I want to know you guys' thoughts. I feel like Rasmus Ristolainen and Seth Jones could be great players for the Dallas Stars D. We'll just have to see. Of course, obviously, Seth Jones wants to trade out of Chicago. He's not liking it down there, even though I feel like he's the main problem. And I'm pretty much sure the fans have been, other Blackhawks fans have been saying the same thing. But Seth Jones, he's not feeling it. And as a Blackhawks fan, Stan Bowman, he did get Seth Jones on the team. Before Kyle Davidson was general manager of the Blackhawks, this was Stan Bowman getting Seth Jones on the team. And, as a Blackhawks fan, I just felt like it wasn't really a good trade. I feel like if we can just benefit from our younger players, I feel like the rebuild will go in the great direction. But obviously, not looking good as of right now. Currently, as I'm recording this, the Blackhawks are down 5-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights as I'm recording this. So it's just been tough for Chicago. I can't really tell what are they going to do come trade deadline, but I know Seth Jones, he's got to go. He's got to pack his bags, leave Chicago, go to a Stanley Cup contender team. But I feel like the Dallas Stars could be an option since, he's from Texas. Probably grew up watching the Dallas Stars since he's from Texas. Not sure, but let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Always like to hear from you. Whether you agree or disagree with anything that I say on the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Even if you think that something that I said is really, really dumb, just let me know down in the comments. Why do you think what I said was really dumb? And maybe you'll have a counter opinion for that. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I would always like to hear from you. All right, now we're going to preview the NHL Stadium Series. So, of course, the Blue Jackets and Red Wings will be facing off in the NHL Stadium Series at the Ohio Stadium on Saturday. Of course, the Blue Jackets and Red Wings played each other recently. Blue Jackets had a 5-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings at Little Caesars Arena on Thursday. And of course, coming into that game, both of those teams occupied the playoff spots in the Eastern Conference, wild card playoff spots in the Eastern Conference. The Red Wings had 66 points. Blue Jackets had 64 points going into that game for Thursday. But the Blue Jackets had a 5-2 win over the Red Wings. So now both teams have 66 points. And both teams are holding a wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. And, of course, Kent Johnson had the game-winning goal in that game for Columbus. And both teams are also looking to end postseason droughts. The Red Wings, they haven't made the playoffs since 2016. And guess what arena was still around then? The good old Joe Louis Arena. I still miss that arena today. I wish it was still around. That arena was electrifying. It was on its feet especially during playoff games, because I remember when the Blackhawks were facing the Red Wings at Joe Louis Arena 2009. Not a good, I think this is 2009 Stanley Cup playoffs, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Darren Helm scored the overtime game-winning goal in that game, and Joe Louis Arena, his feet came off the roof when that goal went in. As a Blackhawks fan, I was really upset that happened, obviously. But, yeah, obviously, got to give it up to the Joe. Like I said, it is always an electrifying arena. And that arena has been around for I think it was first created in 1979, 1980. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so that arena has been around for like 37, 38 years. So it's been that long since it's, been around. And like I said, I still miss the Joe. So that was when the last time the Red Wings were in the Stanley Cup playoffs since 2016. The Blue Jackets, last time they were in the playoffs was 2020. That was during the bubble. That was during COVID. A whole bunch of other crap was happening then at the time. So, yeah. But that was the last time Blue Jackets made the playoffs. They were actually going up against the Lightning that year. And, of course, the Lightning won the series 4-1. And what an incredible 2 games of that series it was for the Blue Jackets and Lightning. But for the Stadium Series, like I said before, this game will take place at Ohio Stadium, which is home to the Ohio State Buckeyes football team. And more than 90,000 fans expected to be in attendance for this game. So this game will probably be, I wouldn't compare this to the 2014 Winter Classic game between the Maple Leafs and Red Wings, which we all know what a game that was, playing at Michigan Stadium, and you had a jam-packed crowd. I think that attendance was like 135,000 people plus at that game. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we should have a lot of people in attendance at the Stadium Series game between the Red Wings and Blue Jackets. And, of course, with both teams being tied with 66 points, the outcome of this game could, impact their playoff trajectories. Where do they stand? Who's more than likely to go to the Stanley Cup playoffs? So, kind of that scenario right there. And, of course, this game will be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. It will come on at 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, so you don't want to miss it right there. And this will be on Saturday, not on Friday. I'm just previewing it for Saturday. So, you should go into the Stadium Series game, have fun. If you're not going to the Stadium Series game and, just watching it on TV, still have fun. I know it's going to be a unreal game, especially if you're going to the Stadium Series game in person. Should be a lot of people, at least more than 90,000 plus people. It probably won't be like the 2014 Winter Classic game between the Maple Leafs and Red Wings, where there was like a lot of people there, 135,000 plus people at that Winter Classic between the Maple Leafs and Red Wings. So it's probably not going to be a lot of people for this one, but hopefully it does be, and hopefully it beats more people than there were at that Winter Classic game right there. All right, NHL games on the slate for today. So we got 3 NHL games on the slate. Got the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the New York Rangers at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This will air on NHL Network. Second of 3 meetings this season between the two teams. Rangers won the first one in Toronto by a final score of 4-1 on October 9th. The final meeting will be in New York on March 20th. And then we got the LA Kings taking on the Dallas Stars. We talked about what the Dallas Stars need to do. We talked about the injuries. We talked about who they should get at the deadline. Obviously, both. Is Dallas coming off of a loss? I don't think they are. I don't think Dallas is coming off a loss. I know LA lost to Vancouver 3-2 in overtime. I don't think Dallas is coming off of a loss. But sorry guys, let me check real quick. Okay, yep, Dallas is coming off of a loss as well. So the Dallas Stars lost 6-4 to the Blue Jackets on Tuesday. So I just had to check that out. I know LA was coming off of a 3-2 overtime loss to the Vancouver Canucks on Wednesday. I was unsure about the Dallas Stars one. But anyway, final meeting of the season between the two teams. Kings won the first 2 meets at home. They won 3-2 regulation, won 5-4 in the shootout. We'll see what happens in this one. See if the Kings can complete the season sweep. And then we got the Minnesota Wild taking on the Colorado Avalanche at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. 34 meetings this season between the two teams. Road team has won the first 2 meetings. Colorado won 6-1 back in St. Paul on January 9th. Minnesota won 3-1 back in Denver on January 20th. And the final meeting of the season is on March 11th. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode of Hockey Talk TG Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Make sure that you get this podcast a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time, 12:30 p.m., 1 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss the best content that I bring that nobody else could bring on my hockey podcast, on the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. So this is your number one podcast for all things hockey, and this is where you want to be for all the latest hockey news I have to bring. But hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you have a great weekend. God first as always. Be blessed. Enjoy the Stadium Series as you're going. Have fun. Should be a treat. If you're watching on TV, it's fine too, but it'll be better if you were going. And I'll see you guys Monday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. Take care.